So it seems that Stephen Hawkin was a bit of a fan of the Epstein Island, and apparently, if you listen to what some are saying, that he had a bit of a liking for small people. Now, something I was always thinking about this bloke, he sits there in that wheelchair in the state he was in, and yet this brilliant mind could work out all these different equations and stuff, and network, and do all of this amount of work, and yet how long did it take him to type a few words and get them spelled out on that computer? And I started thinking to myself, he's there and he can't actually say a great deal. And also they've got evidence on him as being a bit of a wrong-un, right? So I was thinking to myself, all of this stuff about global warming and things like that, did that actually come from him? Because how difficult does it take some complete fucking nobody behind the scenes typing out whatever it is they want so it comes out in that weird word speech that he used to say? Anybody could have been putting that forward. It didn't have to be Stephen Hawking, for instance. And what's he going to do? Say that somebody's abducted his voice and that they're putting out papers and information in his name? Of course he's not, even if he was ever capable, because you just don't actually know how capable he was of what. All you've got is this thing in a wheelchair that's a bloody state, and they're saying it's the most intelligent mind in the world, giving him all sorts of accolades and awards for publishing stuff we know is absolute bollocks. Amazing, really. And we fell for it. Well, most of you did anyway. I was always trying to work out how the fuck that somebody that fucking disabled, that couldn't do much, could do all of this stuff that an able-bodied person couldn't. And also why we were going with somebody that was so flawed like that when there was thousands of great minds out there that could have stood up on stage and given a presentation or whatever. Now some of you were thinking I'm a bit mean, and why are you judging a person who's disabled? I'm simply saying that because he was disabled, he could be used as a face that he wouldn't have been able to ever go against it. We don't know. He could have been an absolute fucking vegetable behind there that couldn't actually do anything at all. And all they did was wheel this vegetable out on stage, right? And say that he's come out with all this great presentation. All he just does is sit there like he does, the poor cunt, right? While all of this other computer explains how global warming is going to happen, or how this is going to happen, or how that's going to happen. You fall for it because this thing in the chair is apparently the greatest mind at that time alive, or one of them, and it's pushing all these agendas that, well, play into the New World Order, as you want to, well, if you want to call it that. I don't know what you want to call it, but it dawned on me that the very fact that at some point or another that he was on Epstein Island and being serviced by little people would make him entirely, even if he could say anything, bribable or blackmailable or whatever you want to call it. The other thing about that log, there's a lot of people on the log, and there's also a fair few people not on the log, and then you've got people like his lawyer that came out and said, well, I took my family over there. You don't think I put my family at risk? And then there's a lot of other people like Cameron Diaz and others like that that were mentioned, but apparently only mentioned by Epstein saying that he knew these people. So not all have been over there, but this is according to some of the news that I've looked at. Now there are going to be people out there that are going to be playing all this down, but you would like to think that a fair few of these famous people that you quite liked in films and stuff had been mentioned by him, but had not actually been to his island and experienced his wares, if you want to put it that way. But it's quite interesting that both him and Ghislaine are said to have been, or well, in her case, is, I don't think you ever leave, Mossad agents. Why is it that Mossad would want to be able to blackmail all the most famous people in the world? Why would they want to do that? I can't think that myself. But it's strange. I was looking at some of the things that Mossad did in the past, when they went into other countries and just snatched people that were Nazis from under the nose of that country, breaking all the laws of that country, because they knew they couldn't get an extradition treaty, so they just went in and snatched these people that were apparently well known Nazis who had a lot to do with the Holocaust. One of them they captured and brought back. Another one they looked at trying to capture for a long time and never got to, and he moved around the globe and he ended up dying a free man. Now, if anybody had anything to do with transporting Jews to their death, then I would suggest that they were disgusting people. But it is interesting to note how Mossad does circumnavigate the laws of any country and just does what it likes. I'm not saying we're perfect either, but Mossad's very good at it. Mossad are for hire. There you go. Anyway, what do you think? Do you think Stephen Hawkins came out with all these great theories on science, all of these different papers, and all of that massive amounts of research that would take lots of going back and forth with things, checking them, looking at them, and all of that from being so vegetabilized in a wheelchair? Or do you think that somebody else did it and put it out under his name and he had no part to play in that? Do you think that he was compromised? Do you think he was even physically, well, he wasn't physically, but do you think he was even capable of coming up with some of the scientific equations that he did late on in life? Or do you think that he was just some victim that was used by the system to push a narrative? I don't know which one I think. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you in a bit.